Today, an unreleased AMD CPU just broke a world record. Ryzen owners won't like this, AMD teases their next GPU, and another Linus Tech Tips employee comes forward on the allegations along with leaked audio. Welcome everyone to Gamer Meld. First up for today, AMD's next-gen monster CPUs are finally coming, and one of them has already broken a world record. That's right, we've been hearing rumors for a little while now that AMD was gearing up to release their next-gen Threadripper CPUs. And today, we have the first benchmark of the top-end beast from Geekbench. As you can see, it's the Threadripper Pro 7995WX, and when it comes to specs, we can see that it's actually a 96-core 192-thread CPU. Which means AMD's new CPU gets a huge boost in cores coming from 64. When it comes to clocks, we can see that the base clock is clearly being read wrong at 7.97 GHz, but when we look at the actual output of the test, we can see that it boosts to 5.1 GHz. It also comes with 96 MB of L2 cache, which is a whopping 3 times the amount as current gen Threadripper, and 384 MB of L3 cache, which is an increase of 50%. Finally, when it comes to the actual performance, you can see it got a single core score of 2095 and a multi-core score of 81408, which is actually around 50% faster than last gen. And when we look at HWBot, we can see that that multi-core score just broke a world record for Geekbench, meaning this CPU isn't even out yet and it's breaking records. To top it all off, an alleged shipping manifest recently leaked showing 3 new Threadripper 7000 parts. So these new chips are clearly set for release very soon. But first, if you've never been to Micro Center, what I call the PC gamer's paradise, now's the perfect time because they're offering new customers a free 256GB SSD for just checking out their store. All you need is to fill out this coupon at my link in the description and bring it to your nearest Micro Center. You can't beat that. And sure, they sponsored this video, but don't forget that Micro Center is the place I went to build my first PC. And they're seriously amazing because they're physical stores that have everything for your PC build. Whether it's a new motherboard, GPU, CPUs, or even parts for a custom water cooling loop, Micro Center has everything you need. They also have some really great deals during their build, upgrade, and save event that's going on right now, plus that free 256GB SSD of course. And don't forget that it's just free, no purchase necessary. You seriously can't beat that. Once again, check out the links for all of that down in the description below. And next up for today, I have some bad news for Ryzen owners. If you remember, not too long ago, I discussed a new exploit that was discovered on Intel CPUs called Downfall. And while Intel did release a patch to fix it, the mitigation also caused some very serious performance loss depending on the application. Well, it looks like a new exploit is doing something similar to AMD CPUs. It's called Inception, and it's yet another side channel exploit that can leak sensitive data, and it affects both Zen 3 and Zen 4 CPUs. This includes Ryzen, so Ryzen 5000 and Ryzen 7000. Luckily, there is mitigation out for at least the EPYC CPUs so far, with updates expected for Ryzen parts sometime this month. Well, in a new report by 4Onyx, they actually tested AMD's EPYC chip with the mitigation to see what kind of performance loss we can expect. And as you can see, in just about all of these, there's at least some performance loss, with certain things like 7-zip taking a pretty large hit. Oh, and when you look at these, make sure to note whether the winner is a higher number or a lower number. Either way, this doesn't look good, with one benchmark seeing as much as a 54% performance drop. Of course, because this is 4Onyx, these are tests in Linux, but I'd expect performance drops in Windows as well. We'll just have to see what apps are affected. As far as mitigation for Ryzen parts, you'll want to look out for a BIOS update from your motherboard manufacturer. Luckily, this exploit doesn't look to have been used anywhere yet, so at least for now, it's not all that likely to affect you, but it's up to the individual whether it's worth the risk to install it or not. Next up, it looks like all the rumors about AMD's next-gen GPUs were true, as AMD's Radeon head, Scott Herkelman, just tweeted this. Quote, "Please join the @AMD Radeon team at Gamescom next week for our next major product announcement." So yeah, AMD is clearly set to announce new GPUs next week. As for what they are, we're almost certainly looking at the RX 7800 XT and 7700 XT, especially given he said announcements plural. To quickly recap on the leaked specs so far, the 7800 XT is rumored to come with 60 CUs, so 3,840 cores, 16GB of GDDR6 across a 256-bit bus, and a boost clock of 2.5 GHz. So far, we've only really seen that the 7700 XT comes with 12GB of GDDR6, so we don't have cores or anything like that just yet. Regardless, while the specs don't look all that promising, I really think whether it's going to be a good deal or not will boil down to price. And lastly for today, we have a huge new update regarding the allegations against Linus Tech Tips from my last video. If you saw that, you know that there were quite a bit of serious allegations coming from a former employee. Since then, the Linus Tech Tips Twitter account made an official tweet about it, claiming that they're taking the allegations very seriously. They also claim to be conducting an internal assessment as well as bringing in a third-party investigator. They also encouraged employees to report any workplace bullying or harassment. So that's about as good of a response as we can expect. But around the same time, an ex-employee, Colin, tweeted that her posts are in line with what he remembers hearing when they were colleagues. Now, he later goes on to clarify in a Reddit post that he doesn't have first-hand knowledge of much of anything in the post, but that the story is what he remembers from back then. So while he can't necessarily state that it absolutely happened, this does at least prove consistency with her story. Finally, there was a leaked audio recording that was released that seems to be confirmed by their current CEO, Taryn Tong. In it, Linus Sebastian is going over HR policies and actually says this.
Since I'm not at liberty to share any details about what occurred, all I can do is ask that you trust me, Yvonne. Some of you know us very well. I've been here a very long time. Some of you have not been here for as long, but I like to think that whether you've been here for 9 years or 9 days, you're here for a reason, and you believe that we do our utmost to run this company with integrity and compassion.
So yeah, something seems to have happened, and from this report, this apparently is from a meeting shortly after Madison left, meaning it sounds like they already knew about this. Yet Linus said in an email to The Verge that he's shocked by the allegations. So it's ultimately not looking very good right now for Linus Tech Tips, but I still think we'll have to wait and see what happens with the investigation. Time, as always, will tell. So while that does it for today, what are you thinking about this whole situation with Linus Tech Tips? Let me know down in the comments below. And don't forget to get your free SSD from Micro Center down in the description below. And as always, have a great day.